The state comptroller's office today released its 269-page report into Sex Week at the University of Tennessee. Lawmakers requested that report last year to determine how Sex Week activities are funded. The office presented its key findings to lawmakers in Nashville today. The report found the group that organizes Sex Week, called Sexual Empowerment and Awareness at Tennessee, or SEAT, received more funding than any other student organization at UT for 4 of the last 5 years. The report also notes that while UT made some changes to address the controversy, those changes were made reluctantly, and it says that SEAT has been unwilling to compromise when the university asked the group to tone it down. The report also noted 14 different policy approaches the legislature could take, ranging from ignoring the activities to banning them. After the release of that report, interim UT President Randy Boyd spoke about what the university plans to do next.
Students will still have input. Students will still come to the administration and make recommendations. It's just simply that the administration will be the ones that are actually choosing the final programs that will support and making those allocations.
President Boyd says the university does plan to enact some changes. It's a sentiment UT Chancellor Wayne Davis echoed, adding in a statement, this process is specific to how all funding decisions are made and does not impact anyone's First Amendment rights. Both Boyd and Davis say this year's Sex Week and other spring programming won't be impacted.